can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
We are here. We are here. Hey, Teri.
Hi there. Talk about just at the 11th hour. I zapped on right as it, or we're willing to stay in the victim mindset. And I said, oh, okay, look at me go.
I know. You know what? It's electronic flying chance, but we're here. We're here. And I got the idea for today's topic by looking back, and sweet Elizabeth, our Elizabeth who watches, she was with us at that very exciting, wonderful Hall of Fame family hootenanny, the Hall of Fame for Tennessee radio. And you guys were my people. And I looked, and you could see the back of my head and the back of your head. So we look like those guys from the Muppets having a conversation. Well, I will say, and it was really interesting because I watched you go through my tools for my anxiety.
Yeah.
And
Just
I
a
said,
little.
but a little really helped. And that's what I want to unpack today. Some tools for peace, because there is all sorts of, yes, there are wonderful medications for anxiety. I do not take them. That's not my jam. And because I'm not at the level that I need that. Nothing, if that's something that helps you, then you do you, boo. And then that works, but I'm not to that level. But I use the tools. It's just like using the tools for the physical therapy for my back and for my knee. I use some physical therapy for my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So let's unpack some things that we can do. First of all, getting nervous. That is a thing, whether it's stage fright, you're going to run into somebody. You're going to be around family that you don't see very often, but it's Christmas or it's a holiday or it's a family reunion. And all of a sudden you feel that little, I picture a top, and it's starting to spin, and then it gets faster and it gets faster, or it's that ice skater inside that goes, that's what anxiety feels like on the inside for me.
Yes. And it's different for everyone. For some people, it can feel like it's not happening, but it can feel like their throat is closing up. Mm-hmm. They can get tightness of the chest. They can become short of breath. They can become tunnel visioned. And sometimes when we're out of control with that anxiety, what happens? We need to gain control, and we can become very short-tempered. Mm-hmm. Or very emotional. Grounding is the one thing for people that will help most people get their. It's like if you're on the teeter-totter, right? In the mm-hmm. playground, old school, dating myself here, teeter-totters. And it helps you get to this, where you're still going to feel a little, but you're going to be here instead of this, mm-hmm. right? And that's why I believe at one point I remember specifically looking at you and I said, let's ground. Like, let's just ground ourselves.
And you can see that on the videotape. Elizabeth, you can see that. It's so funny. And I'm going, okay. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It's what you do. And that grounding, I was going through that with my mother this morning. I said, I want you to wear your shoes out into the yard, right next to the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. Just be right there. And then step out of your shoes and stand there for 30 seconds, Mom. Oh, I'm not going to do that. And I said, I want you to do it. I said, give yourself 30 seconds of standing on the earth.
Right.
And then I had to go do a show. So I don't know. I didn't get into an argument. I just said, and my sister, I know, she'll make it happen.
Right.
Faith will make it happen. But I think it's really kind of cool when you use some of those tools and they all of a sudden you go, wow, this works. We got some folks joining us. Lisa's with us. Hey, Lisa. Elizabeth. Yay, it's Wednesday.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Corinne is here.
Corinne.
Hey, Faith is watching.
Hi,
Faith is watching. She is watching, though. Very cool. Elizabeth says the grounding tools really do work.
They
And
do. They do. And much like anything else, when you first are introduced to grounding tools, just like when we're first introduced to riding a bike or tying our shoe or learning a new computer or program, resistance comes up and our negative Nelly comes in our head and it's like, I can't do this. This is too hard. And all of our self-judgment comes in. It even comes in with our tools to help ourselves stay calm. And so the more we do it, the more effortless it becomes and the more autopilot, just like those resistance thoughts, the more autopilot the taking care and the self-kindness thoughts become.
Shella is it's going to take a lot more than that to deal with my sister. Well, sometimes you start in the little things. 30 seconds of grounding at first. Okay, maybe 30 seconds. Maybe you need a little bit more than that. We're talking about anxiety tools. And well, first of all, admitting that you have anxiety is probably a good place to start.
Mm-hmm. And anxiety, for the majority of anxiety cases, depression is typically born in the past and anxiety is born in the future. So what that means is we get depressed when we think about things that have happened or wounds that have happened in the past that aren't healed. And so they're still irritating. Anxiety is when we don't have control of what we don't know is going to happen, but we get super anxious about it.
There you are.
And we want to try to figure out how to control the situation. And the best way, honestly, to control a situation is to be present in your own mind, brain, heart, and your entire body. And regulating all those bad boys together sometimes can be like wrangling cats, but it can be done. It just takes persistency and also not kicking yourself when you don't necessarily get it accurate. I'm not going to say right, but when you don't necessarily get it accurate. I just realized I have 2 pair of glasses on my head. I've got double vision today. So
oh, it's Sheila Hansen. What am I crazy? Sheila, sometimes I cannot see. And I know that we're sisters in that. So I go, oh my Lord, if you only knew, I'm about done. Well, Sheila, not everybody's blessed to have the best sister in the world like I am. So I get you. I understand. I'm really blessed in that category, but we're going to talk about some tools to help us get through the situation. Joyce is joining us. Good afternoon. Elizabeth has, my best grounding tool for me is repeating the serenity prayer. Not sure why, but it works wonders for me.
Mm-hmm. And everybody has their thing. If anybody, I made the comment, I actually posted something on social media and I think I circled us in the social media and I said, this is just trouble. Because, part of the grounding is a little bit of distraction a while. So are you comfortable in your seat? Well, we've been sitting there a hot minute. And so I actually made the joke to you. I said, I feel like I've been sitting on the toilet scrolling on Facebook for 2 hours. And you know how your legs go numb. And we started laughing. And so that gets us out of our head and it gets us producing the oxytocins and all of the good things in our body that let us get back in our space,
Everybody that was there with us knows exactly what we mean, and everybody's laughing and doing the laughter emotion. And it's your laughter was priceless on Saturday. I mean, laughter is great. So grounding is first, and you can't always walk barefoot, but grounding can be done in the breathing exercise. Okay, let's take us through a breathing exercise really quick, because this has been a tool. You can do it in traffic because traffic makes people anxious. It's something that very simple things. We never know what's going to trigger somebody else into that anxious thing. Being late, for me, it's being lost. I get terrified of being lost.
Right.
And if my phone isn't charged and I can't put Waze on my phone, I all of a sudden I shut down. I can't find places.
Right. So an easy breathing grounding exercise, and I know I usually delve out a few of them, but we'll just start with the 4. And people will say 4 in, 4 out. I say 4 in, 5 out, or 4 in, 6 out. And the reason for that is if you take 4 in and you take 4 out, you still have the same breath in your lungs, in your lung cavity. So taking a deep breath in. And some people will go, a deep breath, okay. And I'm like, no, we're not doing drugs here. We're like trying to keep it low. I mean, like, we're keeping it slow. So it's like if you're waiting for the ketchup to come out of that bottle.
Yeah, breathe from the diaphragm.
Yes,
your ribs, if you touch right here in the center of your solar plexus, your rib cage should go out and expand when you're taking a breath.
Exactly. And you're going to breathe that in to really the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. Now, if you have COPD or you have asthma or you have some chronic cough or some things like that going on, don't beat yourself up if you don't get to 4. If you get to 3, start there, and breathe that in and then breathe it right back out at the same cadence, but go 1 or 2 beats further. That's so that you get all of the air out, and then breathe that back into the count of 4 and breathe it back out to 5 or 6, whatever the cadence is that's good for you. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing is you're oxygenating or reoxygenating the capillaries in your brain, the blood vessels in your brain. So they're expanding. And when they expand and they get full, they're able to dump your oxytocin, serotonin, dopamines, and good levels of cortisol. They're able to start regulating. You're circulating new, fresh, oxygenated blood through your entire body. You're expanding your lungs with new air. And all of these things are happening without you actually knowing that they're going on, And so doing that 3, 4, 5 times, maybe you have to sit there. Maybe you're waiting on a doctor's appointment. Mm-hmm. And you're anxious in the waiting area, and maybe just sit there and you stare at your feet and you do that breathing exercise for 3 or 4 minutes. There's no limit to how long. You're not going to hurt yourself if you do it a long time. And what
breathing actually is kind of good for you.
Well, you know what? We breathe all the time, and either we're going to breathe to stay dysregulated, or we're going to breathe to help ourselves stay regulated. And it's our choice. There's no right or wrong. It's just a choice.
People pass out all the time before they go on stage, before they have an event. People pass out all the time because they literally stop breathing.
Absolutely.
They hold their breath. They tense up. Bad, not good. And if you do have breathing problems, I've always had that. I've always had that issue. This is actually something that will strengthen your lungs. It's always good. And when they do breathing treatments with you, that's the first thing. And that breathing out, exhaling to make that little ball do the thing that does in the little breathing apparatus. Look, you're right in there. That's what it is. Oh, we've got a lot of people who are joining in. Let's see. Joyce says, anxiety has sort of ruled my life. Fear of the unknown, fear of driving the interstate, just feeling crazy sometimes. I have faith that Jesus will handle things, but I just can't get past the fear of everything. Oh, Joyce, that fear of everything that's a big deal. And that's a tough thing. And that's really where anxiety is rooted, in fear. That's the thing that we kind of have to move past. What do you think, Teri?
Well, I think that fear can feel like it's ruining and ruling our life. But also I challenge people to ask themselves what they're doing daily. It doesn't have to be an all-day marathon, but what's one thing you're doing daily to help your brain get familiar with the fact that you actually are capable of doing these things that you're afraid of. I have let's talk snakes. Before I even say this, let me just rephrase that. At one point in my life, I was terrified of snakes. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want one in my house. I don't want somebody walking up and putting one up in my face. But I have, from experiences in childhood, been conditioned to be afraid of snakes. And so I got a snake in my yard a couple of years ago, and I saw her. I say her, I don't know if it's her or him, but I saw her and I said, uh-oh, this is not, I felt my body go into complete panic mode, and I shooed her out of the yard. Well, then I turned around 10 minutes later, she was back. And then I sat there and I was like, okay, I Googled, like, it's Gardner. What kind of snake is this? Is this a cobra? Because in my mind, it was a cobra. She was going to attack me and I was going to be dead. because I went there, right?
It's a cobra. That's what it is.
It is a cobra, people. It's a cobra. And people were like, it's a gardener snake. It's a gardener snake. You're okay. You're okay. And I was like, oh, God, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I just let her be. And I made peace with the fact that she's just doing her life. I'm not bothering her. She's not bothering me. She's just doing her life. Well, this year she was back out in the yard again. And unfortunately, Ella found her.
Uh-oh.
And Ella wounded her. And so I went to the rescue of the wounded gardener snake. I'm over there going, oh, baby, you're okay. You know, and I'm like getting a net out to try to, you know, and I realized in all of that, I wasn't anxious about that. I put my need to respond and to help her over that immediate, oh, she's going to kill me. I mean, she was all of 15 inches long. You know, I'm 6'2". I doubt she was going to kill me. But in my mind, because my littles had a very big experience with the snake, the bigger I grew, the bigger my experience grew. Mm-hmm. So as an adult, this snake, which was 18 inches, was really about 12 foot in my mind and had the, you know, the bite of a crane, you know, and so that's anxiety ridden. So what I'm saying, to circle all the way back with my long-winded explanation and story here, is that every day, if we do something to introduce the possibility and the probability that that fear is only there because it's trying to protect us, and we don't necessarily need it to protect us because there's nothing really to fear in that particular thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Absolutely. Faith said it's copperhead season, so getting Mama Pat to go barefoot in the grass may be a tough sell.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, Faith. Now here's the deal. We're not talking about walking in the grass. We're talking about stepping on the sidewalk and right up next to the house. Check the grass first. Check the grass first, and then just step off in it. Just right there by the sidewalk. That's what we're talking. You don't have to be out, you know.
You're not talking about strolling down a path or anything, right?
No. And Sheila says, I do the breathing thing. It really, really helps. Corinne says, I do the breathing thing before being mashed and smashed. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. Mammograms can get you.
There you go.
And then Faith says, fear of the unknown. That's it. That's what gets us. Ron says, come on, Mama Pat, you can do it. I love how Mama Pat and Faith have now become these characters that everybody knows. Perfect sense. Right. So yeah, the whole idea of moving through our immense fears in a way, breathing, laughing,
and also having somebody on standby. Yes. Sorry, we had a little bit of a lag. I heard you say immense fears, and I thought you were just taking a polite pause. And I was like, let me just jump in there. And then you started going again. I said, oh, she just froze on me for a minute. But, you know, having somebody, having someone that you can call that's not going to tell you, oh, don't be silly. You're just being silly right now. Having somebody that can say, you know, I know this feels really big for you. Mm-hmm. I know it feels big for you, but let's just try. Let's just try.
Yeah, let me take.
And if it gets super uncomfortable, you can stop. Yeah, you know,
we can do this. We can do this, and I know we can. Faith says we'll try, but you know, Mama. Well, you know, I'm just talking inches here. You know, the miles, that's one thing, but we're talking inches, and you know, doing a breathing exercise, getting grounded, bare feet on earth. Oh, I love this. Sheila's got cute meowing kitten videos always help.
Yes.
Honest to goodness. Okay, let's talk about that right now, because I'll give you my videos that help me out of an anxious time.
Yes, that goes in along with that laughter. If you're in a place, a setting like we were Saturday, we have to pull from the laughter that we have. And you know that we don't go too many places that we're not laughing about something. And so there's that laughter.
We do laugh.
And it's usually big laughs, like those snorting laughs, you know, those almost pee on yourself laughs is what they are. If we're being real.
What's it almost business?
Okay.
Come on, let's be real.
Let's be real here. But seriously, like being able to laugh, and videos are a great one. The one that I sent you that one time. It was these two dogs that were sitting there, and the one dog was just sitting, and the other one was running around back and forth. And there was a guy that was voiceovering it about, I'm trying to exercise and da 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 da. And I laughed. I mean, I almost choked on the water I was drinking when I saw that. And I sent it to you immediately, and you were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Funny. It was so funny. And there's another one that the voiceover has been used on a lot of them. And I can't say it because it's filled with expletives. Like, I wish I wasn't so bleeping fat. I'm just like, and it was this little bulldog that had tried to come through the pet door, and he couldn't get through the pet door, but he ended up going through it. But he got stuck in the frame of the pet door, and he was just sitting there in the kitchen, stuck in the frame. He pulled the whole thing out of the door. And it was hysterical. So that's another thing. Let's see. Corinne says it's a cinch by an inch. And Joyce says, I guess since I lost my mother and sister, now I just stay scared about losing my daddy. I know it's going to happen someday, but just the thought terrifies me.
And that is, bouncing back into that anxiety and that worry. And not to be this may seem insensitive to some people. It is not. If you know how my work works, then you know that nothing is meant to be insensitive. But the fact is, we're all going to lose the people that we love. And in fact, the people that love us are going to lose us one day. And I don't say that to be insensitive, but I say that so that those moments that you have right now, fear is stealing people from being present in the moments and making the memories. It steals that presence away, the presence, right? The gift, the present. It steals that away from us. And so, we have choices there. And sometimes those choices feel like they're not in our control. But hanging on to fear and allowing it, that space in our head, we can shift that so that we take more ownership of the pleasant moments or the calm moments and the grounding moments.
Amen. Amen. Faith, Mama says, I'm talking inches too, but those baby ones shoot out all their venom in one bite. Oh, dear Lord.
Okay, Faith, we're just going to need you to go grab a handful of grass and put it in the living room floor. And let Miss Pat just put her feet down on it.
Yeah. Or a little pan of dirt. A little pan of dirt. Right. Go stand there. It's like, oh my gosh. Rhonda says, I listen to CeCe Winans videos. That's it. Everybody's got their thing. Yeah. Mine is dry bar comedy. They had put together some of the best female comedians, and dry bar comedy. If you don't know them on video, they're clean. It's a clean video thing, and they are hysterical. They're so funny. And so that helps me because laughter releases endorphins, which everything kind of gets better. So, okay, now we've got laughter, we've got grounding, we have breathing. Are there some things, I think knowing your triggers and avoiding them is sometimes
knowing your triggers and avoiding them if you can. And if you can't, give yourself a pep talk, knowing that you're going into a conversation or an arena that could be, you could run into somebody, or you could be triggered in some way. But a lot of times it's not so much the running into people or the seeing people as it is us being seen. And what I mean by that is performers are super comfortable in their skin, in their environment. But when you take a performer and you put them on a stage and there's a bazillion eyeballs looking back at them, our own self-judgment comes in. And it's not that we think that people are judging us, but we just feel a little uncomfortable in our own skin. And that's when we are outside of I call that being outside of our body. Because when we do the work and, God, the universe puts us back in our body, how many times have you or anyone that's listening today been fearful about doing something or a little anxious about doing something, and then you get up there to do it, and suddenly you almost feel like you're having an out of body experience, because you're so present in the moment, and you love what you do so much that you're not even thinking about the people that are looking at you. You're not thinking about any of that. You're just in the moment.
In the moment. In the moment.
And when you're in the moment, anxiety cannot exist there.
It's a crazy thing for me because I've done what I've done my whole life, being on the stage, and that not scary at all. Being in the crowd, having to have one-on-ones with a lot of people around me, that's where I get anxious. And you saw that. I had as much problem being in the crowd. Crowded spots really get to me, and that's an issue for me, and I have to work on that. I mean,
also being able to know crowded spots are an issue, and being able, because you're a person that has a lot of people that want to be in your space, and very lovingly and very kind. They admire you. They want to be in your space, and there's nothing wrong with that, except that if it makes you uncomfortable to have a lot of people in your space. So then you have to be the one that sets the limits to say, I'll take that picture in a minute. I'm over here right now. I'm going to take 5 minutes. You have to be the one that helps guide people, because we all function from our needs need to be met right now. And if there's one of you and there's 100 other people, your needs will be swallowed up. And that's not that's for any of us. I mean, I know we've got people that listen that work in finance. We've got people that are, singer songwriters, actors. We've got people that are mothers. We've got all kinds of people that listen to us, and that is applicable to any of us.
That's right. That is exactly right. Sheila says, when my mom's time comes, that's when my sister's really going to go off the rails. I've only been tolerating her for mom's sake, but I don't know if I can keep on. Going to have a serious talk with mom. How mom reacts will tell me everything. Oh, I'm just going to stay off that, Teri.
Well, I mean, if people know that they have a sibling that can be a challenge, I usually say a textured person, then knowing what your limits are with that person. And also knowing, yes, sometimes when there is a matriarch or, a father or mother in the picture, that we are needing to tolerate a little bit, you also have to self-care for yourself. So, you might have to be in a position where we're having to tolerate people, but also on the flip side of that, in those moments when we're not having to tolerate those people, then taking care of yourself. So that next time you go into that mental or emotional battle, you've at least got your rest. You've got your spiritual nutrients that you need to get you through the next encounter.
There are reflexology points that I realized, I've always had anxiety. When I was little, I used to massage my ear right here. And it was just like, quit playing with your ear, quit playing with your ear. But when I went to a reflexologist, the thing that relieves anxiety is that little spot right there. And somehow my little understood the thing. And there's a place in the palm of my hand. That's why people wring their hands. There's a place in the hand that is. So reflexology points are really, really good. Find your spot and know some of those things. So breathing, grounding, laughing, knowing your triggers, knowing some tools like reflexology. Yeah. We're getting back to that phase as we got lots of grass and tall because it's too darn hot to mow.
But also there's there's the tapping, there's the faster EFT tapping that people use, and it's some people will go, I'm not gonna do, that's crazy. Well, we're not saying that it's a one size fits all. We're saying that there's a smorgasbord out there, and peruse your grounding tools until you find a few that work for you, and then start utilizing them, and not those things where. I get tickled because I'll work with people who will say, I'm so anxious, and we'll go through, a series of things, and they'll leave with tools to do them. And then I'll see them again and they're like, I've been so anxious. And I said, are you doing the tools that we talked about? No. Well, why are you not doing the tools that we talked about? I'm just too anxious. I'm like, well, that's bullshit, because you got to be responsible, Do
your tools. Elizabeth says, I try to remind myself that feelings aren't permanent. It might be uncomfortable and scary, and it will pass. And a new feeling will pop in. Oh, that's really good. That is really good. Sheila adds, most of us in the audience don't even notice what the performer thinks that may have messed up, hit a wrong note. The crowd doesn't care. They're too busy singing along.
That's
Oh,
right.
so good. So good. Sheila says, I understand. My sister made me so upset while we were visiting my dad in a nursing home. I had to leave after 5 minutes. So I would have punched her out.
Yeah.
Faith is watching. My sister's watching. Can I say how grateful I am for you? Faith has a process too. Now, Faith, you weigh in on this. Um, Before she would do a play or filming or whatever, and there were audience participants, she would go and touch all the seats. And the thing, it's just like the energy and the thing that whatever. And
Yes.
there might have been, but that's part of her process to get, that was her centering thing. And she has a process that if they're filming, she has a certain process. And let's bring up this one because she has a really good one. She eats well as part of her taking care of her. In other words, she calls them snacky snacks, her almonds, her things with protein, her special drinks, because when you wait, here it is. Graves' disease, because she suffered from Graves' disease, which is a thyroid that runs amok, that just literally takes over, brought on the next level of anxiety, especially on tape nights doing Murphy Brown.
Yes.
It was really something, and so having your process, having your good
and I would
snack.
imagine, yes. And Devon, I'm sorry, I feel like, I don't know if anybody else hears this, but I feel like you stop talking and then I start talking and then I realize you're frozen. So my apologies for being all over you like that today. And I would imagine, and I could be wrong, and Faith can certainly fill us in on this, the touching the seats prior to is probably a way, and if it's not, it's actually a good way of connecting yourself like with that space, so that you don't own that space, but you're familiar with it, so you're comfortable with it. So then whatever occupies that space, you're already comfortable with it.
A good presentation, get there plenty of time, get there plenty early. It happens in a boardroom. Touch all the seats in the boardroom. Connect with that energy that's already in that room and things. Now we're back to sisters. Corinne says hers is a Wiccan Buddhist. Well, to each his own.
That's right. That's right.
Joy says I've been doing the 4-4-4 breathing thing, and it does help some. Yeah. Faith said I had to have mantras, prayers, and dietary grounding tools that I still use today.
Yes. And that is the main, not even the trick to it, but that is the success to it, is knowing that if we have a tendency of being anxious, practice the things that eradicate or release or resolve the anxiety every day, not just when you get anxious. Like, don't just think, oh gosh, I'm going to be anxious in this, so now I got to do my breathing. And then now I'm not going to do it anymore while I'm doing my gardening or I'm walking the dog. I'm not going to think about, because I'm not anxious. Why do I need to do breathing? And then the next time I get anxious, try to do the breathing again. The tool to that is getting your body and your rhythm in your body, the cadence in your breathing, recognizing before you even recognize you're anxious, your body goes into an all systems alert kind of thing. And so it starts dumping the chemicals before you ever get the signal that you're anxious. So when your body starts releasing these chemicals, you will subconsciously go into the breathing to cut it out, to stop that from, you might not do it. You might, your anxiety might be a 9 out of 10 or a 12 out of 10. You start doing breathings consistently and they're probably going to be a 3 out of 10, and you might get it to a 0. But it's just, we're all a work in progress. So being kind to ourselves and knowing that, if we don't start anywhere, if not now, when? Like, if we don't start anywhere, what is going to change?
Some things to avoid. People always says, well, have a drink. That'll calm your nerves. No, alcohol is not your answer for anxiety. It's just not.
Well, alcohol's a natural depressant. I mean, some people are happy drinkers, but alcohol in general is a natural depressant. So it will take you out of the present moment. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. Shopping does the same thing. You know, gambling, shopping, sex, porn, eating, you know, drugs, whatever it is, it'll take you out of the present moment, but that's not going to fix the problem.
Yeah, that's not a tool. That is not a tool. And there are things, too much caffeine can take you in the opposite direction. I always say that anxiety can lend itself, and it can go all the way into a panic attack. A panic attack, you will be swearing that you are having a heart attack. Your heart will hurt. Your eyes, it closes into little pinpricks.
You sound like if you put your hands over your ears, that's what everything sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Panic attacks are very, very scary, and that is what happens. Corinne says sex. Maybe I should try that.
Well, we are not prescribing or diagnosing, Corinne, but whatever floats your boat, girl.
Oh, Faith says half a PB&J with a glass of milk is an instantaneous release.
Nice.
I love that. I love that. I like that too. And Corinne says, instead of letting my sister trip me out over her stuff, I don't let her drag me into her story. I hear, but I don't internalize it. That's another thing. Don't taking things in. You know, learning to laugh.
Be ready. If you are an internalizer and people know that you're an internalizer, and then you start stopping, you're not doing the internalizing anymore, don't think for 1 minute they won't notice, because they will notice, because suddenly they will think, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you mad at me? You got something going on? I don't understand why you're acting like this. And it's like, just not going there anymore.
Joyce says that may be what I do wrong. I think I'll start with it many times per day. Thanks, Teri. Because if I wait till I'm upset or stressed, I sometimes, like you said, hold my breath instead. I have to work on that. The breathing.
And here's the thing. You're not doing anything wrong right now. You're just going to do it different.
Yeah. We're just working on that. So we've got a few tools for our toolbox today.
Yes, we do. And that's laughter. Whether it's your videos that make you laugh, whether it's a friend, having someone you can call to help ground you, having someone that'll bring the dirt and the grass inside the house if necessary. We're not forcing that. Oh, and another thing that is super, super helpful, it's not, a lot of people don't love it, but if you are around, I keep bottles of water and cans of Coke in my little mini fridge at the office. And when someone comes in and I also have a, you know, those gel things that you can freeze that.
Yeah.
It's like a
like an ice pack.
Looks like a heating pad almost, but you freeze it.
Yeah.
I have those in my office. Yes. So that when people get anxious, they can just sit back in the chair and we can unfold that thing that's about the size of a heating pad and lay it on their chest. And they can take a can of Coke or a can of water and put it on their neck. Cold things bring us back in our body. Like how many times have you been in the shower and somebody has flushed the toilet somewhere, started a washing machine or something? Suddenly the hot water disappears, the cold water is there, and the first thing you do is go, and you're back in your body, right?
Yeah.
So that is splashing ice water on your face. People don't love it, but it's one of those things. Holding something cold. You've either read a comment or you have had a memory pop up.
I did a memory. I said, I want to be brought back in my mind. In my shower, I was just imagining Tom Selleck was there. No, don't flush. That's 1970s me. So
right.
Lord.
But yeah, and so those are things that bring us back. That's why cold plunges are becoming very popular these days. You know, people that will just the ice dip or cold plunge is what they call it. And, you know, some people love it, some people don't.
Corinne, you're on a roll today. Tool, breathe during sex and throw cold water on my partner.
There you go.
Oh,
well, that's going to end one of two ways, Corinne.
I do not preach it, my sister Sheila says, but lately all of a sudden she has an issue with it and also decided to tell me how annoying things related to my low vision are so inconvenient to her. Boo-hoo. Because Sheila, we all know that we cause our low vision issues. I've lived my own 950 miles away and I'm very independent, yet it's inconvenient to her the 2 weeks I visit. Maybe I'll just go on a trip someplace else next time. Always wanted to ride the London Eye. Laugh out loud. You know, Sheila, you've got something there about going
Exactly.
someplace else. You know what? You can control that.
Mm-hmm. There are some things that are in our control.
And and okay, now she's jumped in the shower and thinking, Keith Urban for me, don't tell. Y'all are just a precious group today, and I thank you guys for joining us. We are here every Wednesday around the noon hour. I shared it with the different YouTube channel today, so we're on the Devon O'Day YouTube channel and Main Street Today. So I shared it on both places. So you guys are so great. Joyce is saying George Strait for me.
There you go. See, everybody's got their stress reliever.
Yeah. If anybody has got something they want to talk about on a future show, we're here every Wednesday for our lunch break. And Elizabeth says, I just love our Wednesdays. I do too. Devon O'Day at gmail.com, which you can see down below. And Teri, if you want to have a one-on-one with Teri, and she also has some really great intensives that she does, Transcending Turbulence. Teri, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I can be found at terrypugh.com. They can call, they can email, or they can find me on social media under Transcending Turbulence. So, and we are always, we remain always in deep, deep gratitude that you all choose to spend your time, your energy, and your laughter, and even your tears with us on Wednesdays, because we do this. We love doing it. But more than loving doing this, we love the interaction that we have with you. So if you're watching us live, we love you, love you, love you. And if you didn't get it live and you're watching replay, hashtag replay. We try to get to the comments. Sometimes we don't.
Are the shirts ready yet, Teri?
No, Corinne.
Oh, Candy's with us.
I've got to, you know what? I'll get on that. I actually did reach out to Dana, and I think what I'm going to do is end up putting them on Cafe Press. So I'll let you know when they're on Cafe Press. And Devon says we need to do like a release and release a new shirt every month or every something like that. There's like 6 designs, and they're all super cute. So
yeah.
The girl that helped me design them, she's a fabulous artist, both with her hands art wise and also musically. So she's got an eye and an ear for that stuff. So not that my business has anything to do with music, except I'm in Music City. So there's that.
Well, hey, Candy Seaton joined us. So thank you, Candy. Faith says, great show. Got to do Wednesdays more. And for those of you that are new today, it's your first time to watch. We're here every Wednesday, and Teri always brings it home with the same phrase. And we want a shirt. We all want shirts.
We want a shirt. Doggone it, we want a shirt. I'm going to get on that, and I give you my word, I'm going to get on that. So it's not just, I'm not just saying that like, y'all come on, eat Sunday dinner with us when I don't really mean it. I really do mean it. I am going to really get on it. So there's that. And until we see you next Wednesday, we want you, and hope if you want to, great. If you don't, we can't make you do it. But take time to take care of yourself and get your toes in the grass and increase your peace.
And basis, I'll bring the copperheads. You provide the grass.
You got it. You got it, sister.
And I'm so glad I'll be back. Found this while scrolling. Sheila, I'm so glad.
Lovely.
Well, bye. Increase the peace, everybody.
I'm going to do